Welcome to the Takeover Sports Show. I'm your host, Miss D, along with the king of LA Sports, Richie Lopez. And today we're going to talk NFL football and just a little of the NBA, as we are on 1 week into the NBA season. How's everything, King?
How are you, Miss D?
I'm great. How are you today?
Everything. It's great. It's been a couple weeks since I've been on the show.
Yes.
Haven't been back since the Dodgers lost. Okay, I'm over it. Yeah, it's okay. I'm over it.
Next season.
I had a couple weeks of crying, but I'm over it now. Okay. But yeah, so everything's been good. I got a sports convention coming up this weekend. But yeah, it's good to be back here filming, doing another show. And we got a lot to talk about today.
Yes,
and
we
let's get right into it.
Okay, well, the Miami Dolphins are coming off of a victory over the Bengals last Thursday night, with the final score being the Dolphins 22 and the Bengals 20. The Dolphins won the game, but that is not why the Dolphins are in the headlines. Second-year offensive lineman Jonathan Martin out of Stanford left the team last week, claiming player misconduct by fellow offensive lineman Richie Incognito. Incognito apparently was harassing Martin since he was drafted into the NFL on April 2012. Incognito is in his second year with the Dolphins franchise after spending a few seasons with the St. Louis Rams. Apparently, the harassment continued into much more during the start of the 2013 season. King, I gotta ask you, what is happening in Miami?
Wow, this is a huge story in the NFL. It's pretty big, and I want to be pretty careful how I answer this question, you know?
Yeah, please do.
Well, I'll start up. Incognito is a piece of crap.
If
that's careful enough for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you know, there's certain lines that you shouldn't cross as a, you know, these guys are all pros, and
Right.
this guy's labeled as like, he's been a problem throughout his career. He was with the St. Louis Rams he got drafted by the Rams, and he also gave them a lot of problems. He got in arguments with their head coach at the time, Steve Spagnuolo, and he has just always had an attitude problem with people. He apparently has always had issues with bullying. When he was younger, he was a bully, or he got bullied by a lot of people.
He strikes me as the type. He looks like one of those big bullies you see on TV and one of those little movies.
Yeah.
And pushing the kids into the locker, like, hey, give me your lunch money.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy, he's no stranger to controversy. For the past couple years, 2 years ago, he was voted the NFL's dirtiest player. And then the year after that, he was voted second dirtiest player behind Ndamukong Suh. So, and then this is what I don't understand. This guy, he's supposedly sending all these voicemails and threatening messages to this guy.
Yeah.
And it all started, I guess, when he was Martin was drafted out of Stanford in the second round of last year. And when he got to the team, they started giving him the rookie hazing and doing all that stuff. And they just took it to a whole nother level with him. They started, you know, initiating it into the second season when he's not a rookie.
Right.
And they were just harassing him and doing all kinds of...
Like the Vegas trip? Was that second season? Or?
Yeah, it was in this summer when he was already done with, he wasn't a rookie no more.
Right.
But they made him finance a Vegas trip for $15,000.
They punked him into, not convinced or made him, they punked him into that. Because no way.
Yeah, and there was also an interview where he's told people that he was going to make that guy buy the whole offensive line jet skis.
What?
Jet skis.
What?
Yeah, jet skis. This guy.
They probably would have had him though, because I mean, $15,000 on a trip that you didn't attend.
Yeah.
They probably could have gotten a couple of jet skis out of him.
But that's just. Come on.
It's wrong though.
The things that rookies do, you know, they get donuts for the guys. They carry their equipment on and off the field. They do stuff like that for them. For them to be coming out of the pocket all the time and to be like basically harassed is totally uncalled for.
Yes.
And it just kind of, you know, what gets me very upset is that this guy was voted to the Dolphins Leadership Council. So that means everyone on the team voted Richie Incognito to the 6-man leadership role. And it's scary that a leader would do that kind of bullying to someone on the offensive line.
Exactly. What's even scarier is that you would want someone like that to lead you. How does that happen? Apparently, they must agree with his behavior. They like that kind of stuff because. And
apparently, this guy was sending him racist voicemails when all this stuff came out, telling him he's a half, you know what?
Yeah.
You know, and telling him that he's gonna kill his mother.
Yeah, I'm like,
slap his mother, and he's still a rookie. He's gonna kill him.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what did he do that bad to make you want to slap his mother? Like, where do we draw the line here? I just do not understand. Like, you're going to bring somebody's mother into it? Okay, it's bad enough you're bullying the guy. But his mom? Like, moms are off limits. I'm sorry. Parents are off limits. We don't do that.
Yeah, this kind of rubs me the wrong way. This guy he's basically picking on someone that won't fight back.
Exactly.
And last year, they asked, it was a Dolphins player poll. They said, which players on the team, they asked Richie Incognito, they said, which players on the team are easiest to scare? His answer, Jonathan Martin. And, you know, people give him a lot of criticism because they say he's a softie and he came out of Stanford and he grew up wealthy. And
yeah, so people are mad at that. You know, they can't take it when people grew up from wealthy families. Yeah,
there's a lot of people have different opinions on this, and I want to go to one of my good friends and trusted fellow information advisors, Trevante, where you want to jump in on this situation. I know you got a little bit to say.
Right.
So we want to get Trevante. There you are, man. How's it going, Trey?
I want to start off with just saying that Martin basically played it smart. He went to Stanford. Everybody have to understand, the football is a hobby for him. He's a law grad from Stanford. His parents are Harvard law grads. He played it smart. Like, okay, I got these voicemails, these text messages. This is the NFL's biggest nightmare, to have a player that also is a lawyer playing for them and having this type of treatment.
Oh, yeah.
Incognito is just a bully, in my opinion. But at the same time, this is the NFL. There's a whole different mentality that comes with playing in the NFL, especially on the offensive line, defensive line. You have to be a bully to take that type of punishment. But I'm not going to say Martin was weak-minded or he's weak or a simp or anything like everybody else is saying. He had enough. A rookie hazing, it's a lot of teams that cut it out. Shanahan with the Redskins, there's no hazing. When Bill Walsh was coaching the 49ers, he took away hazing. Those two coaches have in common Super Bowl rings.
Yeah.
So if Miami want to win, get a new leadership console going on, and the coach have to step in. But I heard that the coach is responsible for the text messages and Martin being picked on because he wanted to make him tougher.
Yeah.
That's not going to make him tougher.
Yeah, that's not going to work at all. That's how you scare people. You don't just...
Yeah. You can't do that to people.
Yeah, like how does that work?
That's straight harassment.
I have to say, I don't think that you have to be a bully for that position. You just need to be tough. You got to have the skin for it. It's not about, oh, you have to be a bully. No.
And this is
you have to be tough.
This is why they do these pre-draft interviews with these guys before they get drafted.
Right.
So if the scouting report was out there that, hey, this guy might be soft or he might not have the skin for the game, why the hell did the Dolphins sign him in the second round?
Exactly.
Makes no sense to me.
If he wasn't tough enough for the team, they should have cut him. That should have been the end. Move it on.
Yeah, and apparently, like, okay, this is what bothers me. Incognito is apparently using the N-word all over the locker room over there. And a lot of the guys don't seem to care. And Trey, if I can come back to you on that, what's your opinion on that? Like, if you were in the locker room and you heard a Caucasian male saying that word all the time, I mean, would you have a problem with it depending on who it is? Or is there any, like, what do you got to say about that? Does that bother you? Or is that just...
Yeah, it kind of bothers me because look at Riley Cooper. You had him playing with Philly, but he got caught at a concert dropping the N-word all the time. And, you know, is that who Incognito and Riley Cooper truly are? Do they really feel that way? And for me, as African-American, you got these African-American players that's just like, oh, it's fun and games, you know. He's one of us. I understand it's a fraternity, it's a brotherhood, but you have to draw a line somewhere. So I don't know what the Dolphin organization is doing or how those players look at things. It's just a disturbing thought that you let him get away with using the N-word all the time, especially towards one of your teammates in a threatening way. You're supposed to be a family, but as you can see, Martin didn't feel like part of the family.
Yeah.
I'm a black woman, female, and the times that we're in right now, really, let's be honest, anybody can be the N-word. I mean, unless he's using it towards him and he's using like the ER on the end, then I think, okay, oh, it's a big thing. But we all use the word, let's be honest. So I'm like, I mean, yeah, that's a big issue, but really, how big is that issue? You know what I'm saying? Like, people in their terms and using the N-word and everything, it's becoming so loose now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something that, it's just, what bothers me is that there's supposed to be these leaders on that team, and no one stepped in. Got Pouncey, who's the center, Mike Wallace, Cameron Wake. These guys are supposed to be leaders on the team. And
they don't want to be bullied.
Yeah,
they don't beat up.
they're sticking by Incognito, and maybe there's more to it. Like, maybe he really was put up to it by the coach, but at the same time, you got to know where to draw your lines. You can't just come out there and take it to that next level, because that's beyond trying to toughen someone up. And it's the coach's job to toughen up these players, not the other players. The coaches are the ones that need to be toughen these guys up. Let's be real. That's what they get paid all the money to do. That's why they have offensive line coaches, because all these coaches are supposed to get in the player's ass, just so they can get them going.
Right.
And that's why it's the coach's problem. And Joe Philbin, the Dolphins head coach, has a real problem on his hands, because this looks like it's not over. And Incognito is not going to go down without bringing everyone down with him. And he's already saying that it's the coaches that convinced him that he needed to toughen him up. Yeah. But I doubt the coaches were the ones that said, hey, make him spend extra money and do all this. But apparently what caused the whole situation to go down is Martin, they were all having lunch, and Incognito apparently told all the other players, like, hey, we're all going to get up and leave this guy in the lunchroom. So they're all having lunch. Every single person gets up, and that was the straw that broke, or what's the saying? The straw that broke the camel's back. Yes. And he snapped. He left, and now he's claiming player misconduct, and he's a lawyer. Yeah. So this guy is... This is
going to get ugly and fast.
It's going to get ugly and it's going to get fast. And let me just throw some money numbers out there. I think his contract, he makes like $2 to $3 million a year for like 4 or 5 years. He could probably get $50 to $60 million against the NFL for this lawsuit. And that's probably more money than he would ever make playing tackle.
Yeah.
He played right tackle. They moved him to left, which is the hardest position to play in the NFL. Left tackle, hardest position. They moved him over there. And he's obviously having problems learning, and maybe he's not cut out for it. But now he's smart enough to figure out, hey, I'm gonna make triple the money I was gonna make.
Exactly. I mean, hey, I'm not gonna say go ahead and cry wolf, but if that's how much you're gonna get, but handle your business.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, we're moving on, and now we're gonna jump right into another sad situation. Houston's Texans coach Gary Kubiak apparently suffered a mini stroke while running into the tunnel during halftime. The Texans were dominating the game in the first half, 21-3, but ended up losing the game 27-24 to Andrew Luck and the Colts. Did the coach leaving the game affect the Texans during the rest of the game? What do you think, Rich?
Ooh. Yeah, answer that question. Yes, it really affected them because they were blowing the Colts out.
Yes.
The Colts were getting blown out of the water in the first half. And then all of a sudden that happened at halftime, and Wade Phillips, who is the Texans defensive coordinator, came and he started playing real conservative. They weren't being as aggressive as they were in the first half. And they started
them off a little bit.
Yeah, but we can't take away who was on the other side of the football. They were going against Andrew Luck, who is arguably the best player to come out of college football. So, I mean, at the same time, yeah, I think it affected them, but it also didn't help that Andrew Luck was on the other side of the ball throwing those passes.
Right.
And
they needed to be on their A game.
Yeah,
don't slip around him.
Yeah, they needed to be on their A game, because this brings up another thing. These coaches, man, they're the Texans ended up losing the game. Their heads weren't in the game because they had said after the game they were worried about their coach. It's a family member. They didn't know what exactly was going on.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it really affected them in a lot of different ways. And who knows? I think they'll be able to play better next week. But Kubiak apparently had that mini stroke, and he was given some stuff to declog his arteries and stuff like that. But that brings up to the next point, like being a head coach in NFL, it's a lot of stress.
Right.
Like it's not no coincidence that these coaches are all having heart problems and all these.
They're all getting older.
Yeah, they're getting older, but they have a lot of stress.
Yeah,
like these guys have tons of obligations that they have to fulfill.
True.
tons of them. And to be honest, these obligations, sometimes they can wear them out. They wear these guys out. I was doing the numbers. They're required to speak to the media, I think, 4-5 days out of the week, which is almost every single day of the week. They have to go on camera for like 20-30 minutes, answer any question the media asks them. And they do that within the course of a football season, which is, I believe, August to February. And they are on camera more than 100 times. And that's more than our president addresses the nation.
I mean, yeah, but that's what comes with the territory. You have to have tough skin, like the players.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be ready for it. Ready for the questions, ready for all the drama. You have to be ready, especially as a coach.
Yeah, and they're ready, but no one's ready for a heart problem.
Well,
these guys, they set themselves up. They're ready for it, and they're tough. They're not, but it just, sometimes you become overwhelmed, and you know, you can't,
too much.
No matter how tough you are, you can't stop your health.
Yeah,
I can sit here all day and tell you how strong I am, how tough I am. You know, I'm pretty strong. And I can tell you all day how that is. But, you know, I won't be able to beat a heart attack. Like that
is true.
You know, that's why you know, these coaches, I'm sure they take care of themselves, but at the same time, a lot of stress can really put you down. You're talking, these coaches have to worry about their jobs. They have to worry about their personal problems, their players' problems, planning for the game, and it never really stops. Like a coach, you know, the players, they go to practice and they work out, they go home.
Right.
The head coach goes home and it never really stops because they want to keep putting together that game plan for the week, watching film, doing everything they possibly can do to, you know, so yeah, and that, you know, go ahead.
Well, it's not just the coaches who are getting hurt.
Well, yeah, let me finish the subject on that, but yeah, a lot of these guys, we're going to move on to John Fox, who is the Broncos coach. He's having heart surgery this week. And it was because he went to a checkup for the doctor, and he knew before the season that he might have to have surgery, but he wanted to wait. But he got to a point where he was on the golf course in North Carolina because it's the Broncos bye week.
Right.
He went home, and he had like a little mini stroke on the golf course. And it's because of all these, like, you know, there's a lot of pressure on these head coaches.
Yeah.
So it's really like a lot to deal with, like, and so yeah, he's going to be out for probably the multiple weeks, and Jack Del Rio, the defensive coordinator, is going to take over for them. So that's what's going on there.
Right. We're going to keep the coaches in our prayers. You know.
Yeah, that's anything to do with the hearts, or, you know, that's some serious stuff. You know, my family has a history of heart problems, so I'm pretty sensitive to coaches having heart attacks and doing all that kind of stuff because, yeah, got some family history, but only way to help that out is to be healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is right. Well, we have a lot of more sports to catch you guys up on, but we're going to take a small commercial break.
Well, I just found out that I might bitch the Cupid sensation.
What?
Yeah.
I can get to the bottom of this one. Hi, welcome to the Takeover. I'm your host, the King of LA Sports, Richard Lopez, aka the Sports Educator.
Welcome back to the Sports Takeover Show. Well, it's not only the coaches who are getting hurt. The Bears defeated the Packers on Monday Night Football 27-20, but the Packers lost more than the game. Aaron Rodgers got a fractured shoulder on the first series of the game and is expected to miss a minimum of 4 weeks. Does this injury ruin the Packers' chance at winning the NFC North?
You know, Packers have a great team, but it's all depending on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this guy's the best quarterback in the league.
Right.
He is by far the best quarterback in the league. He has it all. He can run. He has one of the biggest arms. He's very smart. This is a big blow. I mean, there's 3 teams that are all pretty much tied in the NFC North: the Bears, the Lions, and the Packers.
Right.
The only one with a healthy quarterback is the Lions. So the Packers aren't really going to do anything without Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. They need to bring in the quarterback they brought in, Seneca Wallace, was not cut out for the job. He couldn't make a throw. He couldn't do anything.
Right.
And it
just messed everything.
It just messed everything up. Yeah, the Packers. I mean, they were supposed to manhandle the Bears. They were supposed to give the Bears a, that kind of whooping. And I'm a little upset because I play fantasy football. I was going against the Bears defense, and I needed like 10 or 11 points. And I was like, oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to dominate. He's going to put up like 4 touchdowns. First play of the series, I was like, the fantasy football gods didn't like me this week. Yeah. I guess I'm not supposed to win fantasy football.
Side. It's okay.
It's all right.
Next time.
Yeah, but the Bears came into the game also without their quarterback, Jay Cutler, who is injured, and he looks like he'll be back. I think he wants to say in 2 weeks now. So, I mean, it's just there's a lot of injuries going around right now, and
it is.
you got especially with the quarterback position, you got to have a capable quarterback in line in case your main guy goes down.
Right.
And the Packers, I don't believe, had that because Aaron
weren't
Rodgers
prepared.
doesn't really get hurt. Like it doesn't really happen because he's barely
never
touched.
seen it coming.
Yeah, because he never gets touched.
Right.
And
well,
it's
somebody touched him this time.
Yeah, and
That's
so
for sure.
there's the little rundown of the games. We're running out of time, but I kind of want just to give a quick rundown of the games that happened this week.
Okay.
The Kansas City Chiefs, they stayed undefeated. They defeated the Buffalo Bills 23-13.
Right.
And the Chiefs are 9-0, and I don't know if they're going to go undefeated or not, but they're making some noise. They got Alex Smith over there, their running game, and they're starting to make some noise. And this game, moving on to the next game, the Dallas Cowboys barely beat the Minnesota Vikings, who are 1-7.
Barely. And I have
Barely.
to say myself, barely, by the skin on the nose. That's how they won that game.
By the hair of my chinny chin.
Right.
They barely won, but hey, props to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Tony Romo's another guy. He puts up good numbers, and I've said a lot of choice words about Tony Romo. And a lot of people, they come at me about that. And the only thing I want to say to that is if Romo puts up people show me all these numbers about Romo, what he does in the regular season, fourth quarter stats, all this different stuff. Nobody comes to me and shows me his playoff stats. That's all I want to see. I want him to win a couple games in the playoffs, and just like LeBron James, I will not talk about Tony Romo bad anymore.
Thank you.
But I think he's a good quarterback. I just think he could. I don't know. He's actually taking the game a lot more serious. I don't know why he wasn't taking it serious before. He said when he signed this new contract, he was going to take the game more serious and do all that. Why wasn't he doing it before?
They probably added some extra zeros.
Yeah,
maybe
but
another comma.
Those other zeros before that should have been enough for him to put in the extra work if he wants to be a starting quarterback.
Some people need that extra that extra motivation, that little push. A couple more dollars might have did the job.
Yeah, that would have done it for sure.
Yeah,
and
for me.
the next we had the Ryan Bowl, which is the New Orleans Saints versus the New York Jets.
Yes.
Everybody I knew had the Saints beating the Jets.
Too.
Everyone.
And they lost.
They lost. And I think what happened here is Rex Ryan and Rob Ryan is the defensive coordinator of the Saints. Rex Ryan's his brother. I think he just knows his system. He knows what works against it and what doesn't.
Right.
So that's how the crappy Jets, the crappy Jets were able to beat the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, because I was sitting there, I'm like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
Am I reading this wrong? The Saints just lost.
Yeah. Chris Ivory from the Jets, that's another reason. He was on the Saints last year, and they traded him to the Jets. So maybe that was like, he probably had some extra motivation. He rushed for over 100 yards and a couple TDs.
Right.
So he had a game. And moving on, which I thought was one of the better games of the week, it went into OT was the San Diego Chargers versus the Washington Redskins. That was a great game, and what that came down to is the San Diego Chargers had under a minute left. They had the ball on the Washington Redskins 1 yard line. They could not get into the end zone. For whatever reason, they could not get in. They had Ryan Matthews on the bench, who is one of the better running backs in the league, and they had little 4'5", 100-pound soaking wet Danny Woodhead trying to run on the goal line. That made no sense to me. That's absurd to me. And why wouldn't you run Ryan Matthews like that? That's why the Chargers deserve to lose. And I don't like Chargers. I'm a Raider fan. Raiders blew them out in the beginning of the season. Just so everyone, just so that's clear. Speaking of my Raiders.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna I don't want to talk about it too much, but it was a big deal, so I got to bring it up. Philadelphia beat Oakland. The Eagles beat the Raiders 49-20. Yeah, Nick Foles, the Eagles, they don't even know if he's the starting quarterback. He put up 7 touchdowns. No, don't adjust your screen. I'm not saying it wrong. 7 touchdowns. He tied the NFL record, which was tied earlier this year by Peyton Manning. 7 touchdowns Nick Foles did on the Raiders. Oh, man, it was so hard to watch. I had to turn it off. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, the Raiders, they just got blown out the water. And my sleeper pick to make some noise in the playoffs, the Carolina Panthers demolished their division rivals, the Atlanta Falcons, 34-10.
Yes.
Granted, the Falcons are pretty banged up. The Carolina Panthers really gave it to them. And this was a
backhand.
Okay, and if anyone's going to tell me they predicted this next score, I'm going to tell them they're a damn liar. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers went into Seattle and almost beat the Seattle Seahawks, who have not lost a game at home since 2010.
They almost had them.
They almost had them.
Almost.
This is a team that has not won a game this year in the NFL, and they took it to one of the best defenses in the league.
Right.
And I was, again, fantasy football, Seahawks are my defense. So I was not expecting this. I lost so many points. I was expecting the Seahawks to get like 30, 40 points.
So you're just
They ended
falling
up
off
with
the
like
couch.
7. Yeah, I'm like falling off the couch, getting mad. But, at the end of the day, this is the NFL.
Right.
So these guys are all pros. They get to the NFL because they're good. So
Right.
we really shouldn't be surprised to see some of these guys, even if they are on bad teams, they all have pride.
Yeah.
So, some days the
step it
coach
up
can put
sometimes.
together a good game plan, and the players will go out and do it. But they seem like they have a lot of pride. But if they don't start winning, the Tampa Bay coach is going to be gone.
Yeah.
That one win might have
Outta
saved his
here.
job. Yeah.
Probably did.
It
They're like,
it almost,
maybe we'll keep you for the next.
but they would have if they won. But
Right.
they didn't win, so it's a little. I feel sorry for them. A couple other games. The Baltimore Ravens, the defending NFL Super Bowl champions, after, they defeated the 49ers. Oh, before I get into the Baltimore game, the 49ers, they're on their bye week, but look for them to be making a lot of noise. Michael Crabtree came back to practice this week, along with Mario Manningham, which is going to give Colin Kaepernick a lot more targets out there. So, Trevonte, I know you're worried. He's my friend Trevonte, big 49er fan. Don't worry, Trey.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay.
The 49ers offense will be there right when you want them to be. All these guys are coming back, and Kaepernick is going to have some good weeks coming up.
Right.
So, yeah, just so you know. And, so the Baltimore Ravens, they lost to their division rivals, the Cleveland Browns, 24-18. And the Browns really don't even have a running game. None of their running backs did much. They only had, like 30 yards, I think. And the Ravens, they have some good backs, but they're just getting beat. Not taking nothing away from the Browns, because they are having a good season too. But, yeah, the Baltimore Ravens, they kind of go into that funk. Like when they won the Super Bowl in 2001, they took a few years rebuilding. So I think that's what's going on right now.
Yeah. They're in their rebuilding phase, trying to get it together.
Yeah, and the final game I'm going to talk about, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They put up a good game for the first half against the Miami Dolphins, or against the New England Patriots. But then the Patriots just took it to another level. They let put the smackdown on them.
Whipped them.
In the Pittsburgh Steelers' whole history, they've never allowed more than 50. They've never allowed 55 points on their defense, and the Patriots did that, and they did it with ease.
Okay.
So Coach Mike Tomlin of the Steelers said that people are going to start losing jobs and stuff like that, because he can see on film that a lot of these guys, they're not trying as hard as they should be trying. And if you're getting paid millions of dollars, you better start trying, because they'll find a replacement for you. There's a lot of guys that are in the pros, hungry, trying to get there and trying to get their name. And Mike Tomlin's a tough coach, and I don't expect him to be dealing with anyone's laziness, especially on defense, because that's his forte. But I also think, the Steelers, they put up 31 points against the Patriots, which is okay, but yeah, the Patriots just blew them out the water.
Almost doesn't count.
Yeah,
Sorry.
almost doesn't count. There's a song.
Yeah.
There's a.
Almost doesn't count.
Okay. Yeah, see, I know the song. I know the song. All right. Yeah, that's so.
Okay, wait, and before we go, right, I have to go back to Colin Kaepernick, right?
Let's go back to Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
I hope you're not going to talk about his. I know what you're going to. Go ahead. You have the floor. You have the floor, Miss D.
Well, they were trying to say because he was dating Sanaa Lathan that his game was off or whatever. They are still dating, right?
I believe so.
So, do you think he's going to come back still off, or is he going to be all right?
No, I don't think it has nothing to do with who he's dating. I think it's just they're not. Last year they ran that spread option with him, so there was a lot less passing than is required this year. So now he's trying to learn like a little bit more of passing offense instead of the speed, the option, because teams are planning for that. So he's trying to learn the passing game. He's pretty much learning Harbaugh's normal system.
Right.
He ran the spread option at Nevada, Colin Kaepernick, so he was comfortable with that going into last year. Now he's running a little bit more of a different system, and he hasn't really had the receivers to help him. But the receivers, like I was saying earlier, they're coming back. Mario Manningham, Michael Crabtree, and they still got Bolden.
Right.
So look for them to make a lot of noise.
Okay. I just had to clear that up.
Sorry, I thought you were going to talk about his ESPN, the magazine issue that I've seen around the studio, looked at a couple times.
We won't talk about that today.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that.
Well, we want to thank you all for watching the show this week. That is all for us today. I'm your host, Ms. D, along with the King of LA Sports, Richie Lopez.
Yes, I am the King of LA Sports, and if someone could please give me my camera, I would truly appreciate it.
Camera.
Thank you. Okay, King of LA Sports. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. It's free. Show some support. And you can find me on Twitter, Rich Lopez, Kolase. Ms. D, you want to let the wonderful audience know where they can find you?
Of course. Okay, so I'm not normally here doing the takeover. I normally do, entertainment, gossip, that type of thing. So you can find me on YouTube. Search Dialasia. That's DialaYsia. I'll do it again. DialaYsia. That's on YouTube. Or you can find me on Instagram at Love Couture Life. You'll figure it out. I don't have to spell that.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. And remember, when you live life rich, you'll never be poor. Have a blessed day.
See you guys next time. Bye.